This coverage is brought to you by RAMIRENT.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to some more disc golf media coverage. We are here at the second stop on the European Pro Tour at Järvä Disc Golf Park. We've got the MPO lead card final round coverage. I'm Tony Ferro.
And with him, Connor Wood, as we see about 20 degrees Celsius today with wind speeds between 8 and 12 kilometers an hour. Very similar to the first round, some good conditions coming out, hopefully a little bit drier than round two. I think we'll definitely see some sparks fly as our Nordic competitors clash head to head. This is what the European Pro Tour is all about.
Oh yeah. Got a couple new faces on the card today. It's nice to see lots of change up on this lead card. Taking us off first is Knut Valen Håland, coming out of Norway. Had an amazing putting clinic in round two.
That's right, he did. We also have Niklas Anttila joining us today, tied for first with Knut, 1026 rated. He's definitely been having a very consistent game and getting a few bogeys as well as an eagle yesterday.
And the man with the hot round in round two is Håkon Kveseth, also out of Norway. I've personally seen this guy make some bombs of drives.
Big man, big round. We also have joining us Rasmus Saukkoriipi, 987 rated, out of Finland. My first time to see his game. I think we'll absolutely see the stage be set here as we see our leaderboards tied for 14 under. We have Knut and Niklas battling for the lead. Håkon and Rasmus at 10 down with competitors hot behind them.
Now the leaders got a little bit of a cushion here. Let's see if they can hold on to it and take it home. Let's get into some round coverage. Starting off with hole 1, par 3, 121 meters. Got that OB left side, hills slanting right to left. If you've got it, sidearm with the righties would be the play of choice. Roller is also very, very highly recommended. Miss would be to the right. Get yourself up on this basket to hopefully have a birdie to start it off.
I do think with some softer winds, we're likely to see a couple rollers here, and we'll see Knut up first.
Now, compared to yesterday, this looks ideal.
First throw of our round 3 MPO coverage. It's looking fantastic as he gets a nice turnover line. Hits the hill. Can he sit it down? He absolutely does.
Oh yeah, that's about 6 meters out for his birdie start.
Beautiful first throw for our lead card MPO here. Fantastic. Niklas now. He has been opting for that roller line we see here as he turns one over nice and early.
Oh, much better ground play today than yesterday. Curling up nicely to the basket. He should also be about 5-6 meters out.
You can see our leaders here already battling matching distances. Håkon now.
Upside down backwards glasses. With the roller ooh, that had a lot of cut though. But it's a flippy disc. Whoa!
Look at the shape on that thing as he
That's
fires his
hard.
roller into the green and settles it right next to the basket, the closest of all three. Really impressive.
Can't ask for much more than that. Amazing roller.
Rasmus now, looking for that forehand line. May need a bit of shape as this is a 121 meter hole. Looks to be getting a nice flex. And gets it under the tree line. 4 fantastic shots.
Big power sidearm from the youngin'. Everybody is on the dance floor inside the circle 1. Let's see if we can make some putts.
Rasmus up first. Hey-oh, snags the first birdie of the round.
That'll get you started.
Niklas now. Beautiful.
These boys came to play it today. No short of excitement gonna be going through this final round.
Definitely
Knut up next for his birdie.
Some reputations on the line here as we have 2 Finns and 2 Norwegians represented on this lead card, battling for first and third respectively.
Left side, strong side for Knut.
And Håkon, closest of the bunch, tapping in his birdie. Perfect start for him.
That's the way to get it done, lead card. Starting it off right. Little jingle jangle from Håkon.
Masterful execution.
Let's move it on to hole number 2. Par 3, 96 meters. Open fairway to start you off, but about 2/3 in, you've got a gap to hit and a low ceiling. Players are going to look to have a backhand turnover shot, landing as flat as possible early from the basket to slide up to the green. Don't go too far though, as we have seen the drop off behind the basket is dangerous.
And the distance control really being the qualifying factor. If they can keep it safe, keep it a little bit on the short end, and they'll be giving themselves a healthy putt. Knut up first. Catching quite a lot of height. He may fade a little bit left into that hillside, but a very friendly reaction as he curls his way to maybe edge of circle, slightly closer.
Now that looks to be very nice.
Yeah. Maybe 7 meters or so. Great throw by him.
Niklas up next. Also going with that backhand turnover. Possibly a little late.
Can he catch the fade though?
Oh, he caught the hillside. Gonna have to look and see how far down that went. He's got some stairs though. Doesn't need to have to worry about the hill.
As we see Håkon now. Tall man with the low shot. Sliding one up very straight. Catching some ground play. As we mentioned, a little on the shorter side, but that is where you want to be. Rather short than long. Good throw by him to pierce that gap.
And last up, Rasmus. Check out the backhand from him now. Looking clean as ever. Is he going to get the slide? Oh, yes, he will. That is beautiful.
Slide and a half. It looks like he got maybe closest of the bunch. Good snap to his backhand form there.
Yeah, great both directions on him. He's going to have all the game, I see. Niklas up first from about 2/3 down the hill. This is a very uphill putt. Gives it a good bid, little short left, but that'll settle him up for the par.
And Håkon now for his 2. Beautiful putt as he drops in his birdie there.
We can see Håkon came to play today. That was a huge circle's edge putt. Getting his round started right, 2 for 2.
And this is Knut here to take the stroke. And 1 lead now over Niklas. An early start for this young man. 2 through 2. Well done by him to see that open door and take his opportunity. Rasmus now for his birdie to also go 2 through 2.
Whew. She caught it though. And the whole lead card is really coming to play here. 3 out of the 4 players, 2 birdies for 2 holes. Let's keep that
MPO
pace.
lead card. These players are here to take down every hole they can and put on a show for all of us at home. Well done to them as our players are heating up. Let's move to hole 3.
Hole number 3, par 3, 103 meters. As we've seen before, righty backhands can choose to go the huge spike hyzer route over the trees, or if you've got it, turn over backhand or sidearm on the left, more open side. Just have a couple trees to contend with before you get into this green. But again, distance control is key here. As we've seen, the OB is inside the circle, wrapped around the entire basket.
As we see now the lone leader, Knut, up to the tee.
Turn over backhand for Knut, keeping it low, just squeaking past the Guardians. And he is parked once again 4 meters away from the basket. Great shot from Knut.
Really does seem to have that hole dialed. Very reliable throw from him on hole 3. Håkon up next. Also looking for the backhand turnover.
Oh, that looked a bit inside. Is it going to have enough stability? Just too much turnover. Coming up a little short, but he's about mid-circle 2. So we've seen this man has a huge putt.
Definitely here is Rasmus showcasing the forehand line.
Well, he's definitely got all the power for this shot. Coming in very nice. Just about 6 meters short. Nothing he can't handle.
And Niklas here.
Also choosing that backhand turnover line.
As the wind does seem to be picking up slightly.
Yeah, it looks to be a bit left to right for these players. Should help that Anheuser push towards the basket, but that had, again, too much turnover, and he will be right there by Håkon, just outside the circle.
With this being the lead card of the MPO, though, we know all of these players have a lethal putt within circle 1 and circle 2. We'll definitely see some good bids here.
Niklas up first. Solid correction from the last putt, getting it way up in the air, letting the wind push it down just over the cage.
Really well done by him. First up to putt, first birdie.
Putting the pressure on the rest of the cards, saying, I came to play as well, boys. You might have got one on me before. You ain't going to get it again.
He always is here to play. Håkon up next.
Nice little stepper, just a bit inside, but that'll leave him about 3 meters away, save his par.
As we see Rasmus now to go 3 down through 3. Beautiful.
Right in the heart.
This man has had a very good start to round 3 here. Super clean on his tee shots and on his putts. Håkon for his 3.
Attaboy. He's so tall, it's like a downhill putt every time.
And Knut now tapping in his birdie.
And that's Rasmus and Knut with Turkey to start it off. Hole number 4, par 3, 100 meters, slightly downhill off the tee. Couple gaps to hit. Got that double tree on the right is the spot to miss. As you come into the second gap here, getting that low ceiling running theme on this course. But you got the uphill slope as you get towards the basket, really allowing the players to drive it into the hillside.
Really thematic design here in Järva. Some recurring characteristics to make these holes really tricky. Never just offering 1 or 2 challenges on a hole. You'll see they're really combining a few different elements.
Absolutely. Being a course designer myself, I really see the changes from the old to the new. Absolutely beautifully done.
Knut up first, unfortunately turning over a bit early and catching an inside tree. Looks like he kicked left. We'll see Rasmus now.
Again, leaning on that sidearm, but that was inside with a little too much hyzer. He caught the first guardian trees as well.
Niklas also looking for the forehand line. We did see a slight flex out of him with a very overstable disc last round. Oh, a very similar shape and flight, but unfortunately catching that tree going a little bit too straight. He will have a long look to the basket though. Håkon now. Definitely won't burn the back of his head.
Curious how those glasses stay on there all the time.
rubber technology, Tony. Wow.
Oh my gosh, that is park job.
As we see him just lace it straight up the fairway under the basket. Perfect execution there by Håkon. Rasmus now to secure his approach. Be looking to settle himself nice and soft on that hillside.
Catching the second gap there. He will have about circle two's edge to save the par.
Definitely looking to be a bit tricky for him. Knut now looking for that hyzer approach.
Really driving it in there, getting a little bit of a skip, but
that forgiving hillside allowing them to really attack with some power.
No doubt. He's still in the circle. Nothing he can't handle.
Anttila for his birdie. A long look over this little valley.
Well, that looks good. Oh, just short. Wind looked to have slammed it down just at the end, but man, that had beautiful line on it.
And here we see Rasmus, the first trouble he's been in. As that was for his par, he will unfortunately be tapping in his bogey, but with such a strong start, I think he'll still be well positioned to have a great round here.
Knut capitalizing on that par save. Beautiful.
Good maturity by these players after their first, maybe a bit off to the side to just take their approach, take their putt. Never going for too much.
Yeah, catching early on this hole really increases the difficulty. Making the gap is key on this shorter, but definitely teeth-filled par 3.
There is no doubt as we see the rest of our players tap their putts in here. We see one birdie, one bogey, and 2 pars. Mixed bag.
Let's kick it off to the island hole. Hole number 5, par 3, 71 meters. At a pretty big island to hit, not too big of distance, but angle control is key here as we've seen many skips, many rollaways. The wind can also catch the underside of the disc as you put it up on a big hyzer coming around these guardian trees.
We have seen the inside line recently on this last card, keeping it low, avoiding the wind. The high highs are very natural, though, shape on this big island hole. Control some distance.
Yeah, with these huge arms, the big high hyzer is the easiest way to control the distance on this shorter par 3. But that also brings in the difficulty and the danger to skip and go long and OB out of the island.
As Håkon, I believe, fired off his hyzer, looking to be curling up nicely within the circle.
Yeah, I got that skip in the roll, but great speed control on that disc, and it curled up nicely and well short of the OB.
Knut now also looking for a similar big hyzer. I think we'll definitely see some lower speed discs out of these players to avoid the ground play.
Oh yeah, and that was beautiful execution. Believe he caught the tree right next to the basket, leaving him just about 4 meters away.
There's Niklas here with his standstill. Definitely a man to reliably use that stance.
Yeah, no slouch in the power department.
Wow, that disc is overstable as you saw it just meat hook left. Get a little bounce into that hill. He will be a little bit short, but definitely putting.
Yeah, that is a mutant from Discmania. Very overstable mid-range.
Rasmus now, we'll see if he opts for that high or that low line.
Going low and direct, but catching the Guardian, getting a forward push though. He should be about circle's edge. Everybody in the island, everybody on the dance floor.
With 4 putts coming up, we'll see whose game is really locked in tight today. Rasmus to recover from his bogey on last hole. A long look for his 2.
Headwind putt just inside left, splashing off that Prodigy basket. They do not like those sides. Gotta hit the middle with the Prodigies.
He did get a lot of chains, but unfortunately not quite enough as we see Niklas here for his 2 as well. 1 down behind Knut now. Is Niklas? As he puts that in, not going to let that one escape him, as that puts him to 3 down through 5.
Håkon. Oh, just got the nose angle up on the putt, and it blew right over the top. He's going to have some work to do to save that par.
The man does have a cannon of a putt. We'll see here now. A longer one to bring it back.
Oh, just caught some cabbage on the low ceiling. That looked good, but probably took enough speed off of it just to keep it short. Unfortunate bogey for Håkon on this shorter par 3.
But beautiful shot by Knut to tap in his birdie. Starting to maybe run away with a little bit of a few strokes here. As he is 4 down through 5, our current leader, putting on a fantastic performance after a very strong back 9 of round 2.
No doubt. Best start we've seen yet. Let's get into a little bit more difficulty factor on hole number 6. Par 3, 148 meters. Slight gap to hit off the tee as you start heading downhill in the open. Gonna have to hit another late gap though as you come into the trees here. Try to land your disc early and hit that uphill slope. Catch the speed control. Get yourself lined up for a bonus birdie on this hole.
A disc collector here. As we see Knut to the tee first. Definitely looking like he's getting that nice shape, looking to crash into the hillside.
Oh, look at that bounce skip, and that is great.
Really nice shot, that huge flare off the hill.
Really low penetrating line, lots of power out of Knut.
As we see Niklas now.
Looking to match.
The difference in the nose angle, Niklas does release a little bit higher, but gets some love, slides his way up. These guys really making this long, tricky hole look easy. As we see Rasmus now. With some mild winds, you are seeing a bit of drop and rise there. Rasmus's disc getting a little bit beat up, but also crashing into that hillside.
That is not a bad play with that wind.
He did not seem to get the same flare and ground play, though, as the other two. Perhaps a little bit shorter. Maybe circle 2 looking at the basket for Rasmus.
I would agree. Håkon up. Let's see if he can capitalize after that bogey. Line is looking great. Catching that wind. And sliding up. He's in the circle.
Wow, all 4 players hitting the gap cleanly in this wind with this pressure. Really fantastic job by them to execute. As we see Rasmus up first, putting for his birdie.
Oh, clutch putt from Rasmus. Going 3 down, 4-6 holes. Great shot.
That was a great shot. Beautiful there. Is Knut also putting in for birdie. These men really putting on a display here.
Man, I called it a bonus birdie, but I think we're about to see a star frame. Holy cow. This is unbelievable lead card play.
So grateful we are to have access to this fantastic footage as we see Håkon tap in his birdie as well. Can Niklas ride that wave and give us the star frame on a very tricky hole 6?
I think that's just a formality there, and that is star frame number 2 for 6 holes to start off this round. Hole 7, going back up the hill, par 3, 107 meters. Slight turnover angle for the backhand righty to start you off, but you need that stability on the disc, flexing back to get into this tree-filled green. Uphill slope, though, can really give it that extra power to drive it into the green. Slide yourself up this hill. Hopefully have an open look for another birdie.
We have seen some players opt for that higher line, definitely needing to beat the early trees, but the most successful throws have just been digging into that hillside and sliding up. Height, a very important factor here, as we see a straight laser from Knut. Wow!
Oh, I can't say enough about that. That is beautifully executed with the wind. Another park job.
Population Knut. All right, Niklas, we'll see if he can join Knut in Park City here.
Knut is really putting the pressure on early, making these guys match him. Instead of him trying to keep the lead, he is just pushing. But Niklas says, I'm right behind you, boy. Don't get too comfy.
We are really watching two battles here, as Knut and Niklas only one stroke apart. Håkon and Rasmus also tied for that third place potentially. As we see a big hyzer out of Rasmus, crashes the tree line.
That'll be just outside the circle for a birdie look.
Long uphill putt, no doubt. Håkon here. Do you think he ever flips those to the front?
I was just going to say, I'm starting to wonder if he really needs the glasses on the back of his head or not. But
maybe a bit of comfort.
Maybe that's just practice like you play. That's how it is.
As we see him up first. Oh, decent bid, but with that long range and significant uphill, needing a lot of power to give it the height.
No doubt. He could be so in the zone that he just forgot they're even on his head.
Rasmus for his two.
Oh, just high and wide, but a solid bid from way down the hill.
As we see Niklas taking his time on this short putt. We've seen that from him all weekend. Definitely not going to let anything slip by. Very good focus by the young men.
Yeah, very routine-oriented player. Take notes, kids. That's the mark of a champion. Unfortunately, going a little short. Believe he had a tree in his direct line for the putt. And that will unfortunately lose another stroke to Knut, as he is just a mere 1.5 meters from the basket.
And I think maybe, unfortunately, an unexpected miss by Niklas there, who has a very strong within the circle one range on that short putt. And we did mention take notes. We'll see how he recovers mentally from maybe a slight mishap.
Let's see if we can get one back here on hole 8, par 3, 96 meters. Got this left to right sloping fairway. Trees are not so tall here. Players are going to look to flex one over the top, but you got to watch that angle control as you land on this slanted green. We've seen skips, rollaways, everything possible.
Just so touchy, so touchy.
Very, very touchy hole.
As we see how high up that hill on the left of the basket they'll choose to land. Looking like a putter out of Knut here. Going high and flat.
This looks like the right angle, though. Is it going to get down in time? Oh, just caught the last guardian, and look at that roll.
And say goodbye as he rolls, but saved by the U-Disc banner. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Kudos to the course designer for putting those up, giving some help to these players, not going too far away from the basket.
Niklas now.
Looking to get one back.
Oh, as he catches that right early tree.
Possible slip on the tee there.
I think he'll still have a good 70, 60 meters to the basket.
At least. That wasn't too far off the tee.
And that will be a tricky one with this very sloped green. Rasmus up next. Testing his angle control. Also high and flat, looking very nicely down the middle. As long as he can beat that guardian.
Just sit.
And
sit
bye-bye.
down, please. Oh, man.
But
almost
I do believe he kept it safe, as he will have that long uphill obstructed look. The most familiar putt on this hole for these competitors, likely to have been there before. We see Håkon now, if he can keep his landing soft and flat. Perhaps matching the grade of the hill or getting a huge flex. Interesting.
Oh, that is it. Great shot from Håkon. Just squeaking past the basket a little bit, but I don't think that's too much he has to deal with there.
Oh, definitely not. That man has a very strong putting game, as he'll be happy to put himself about 5 meters away. We'll see Niklas now for his approach. First of the bunch to throw his second throw here on hole 8.
I think we can see the basket, but I don't think he can see the basket from his lie. Going up and over, but executing that perfectly, and that will net him the par.
You really can see from the angle of that catch cam the severe slope. Very good by him to keep that one on the hillside up high.
And Knut with a long look for birdie, way down the hill. Well, we have seen the distance that this man can putt from.
He just does a little leg extension, a flick of the wrist, and that thing goes 40-50 sometimes.
Lots of spin.
Rasmus up now.
Ooh, solid bid from the bushes, but that was just a tad short. He will have to settle for another par.
As we see Håkon now setting up his putt to hunt for that lone birdie on this card.
And to take one stroke on Rasmus as well.
Very good point. There you go. He fires that one in nice and low.
That's the way. Man, that putt starts from his shins.
When you're that tall, maybe that's what you need to keep it level to the basket.
I was going to say, yeah, it's probably cage height around his shins there.
And we'll see Niklas here for his par. Watching his footing on this slope. Opting for the staggered stance on that short putt and taps in his 3.
Great save from the unfortunate tee shot.
There's no doubt there. Really effective approach by Niklas. Leaving himself a lot as Knut also tapping in his 3. No strokes moved on those front 2 players. Knut has snuck 2 ahead though now. As we start to move towards hole 9 and then the back 9, time is running out.
Absolutely. And let's get into our first par 4 of the day. Hole number 9, 178 meters. Pretty wide open fairway to begin with, but you have amazingly placed trees to block the shot coming into this gap here. It is key not to be too right or left. There are way too many trees to get through. As we see, the basket is again perched on a downhill slope. Speed control, angle control is essential on this hole.
For players at home, you might think that wide open fairway does sound a little bit generous with a few trees in the way. These players, though, knowing their gaps, we'll see if they choose the outside or inside hyzer, as Håkon looks to be going inside of that big tree.
Looking to be a bit too far left, though, and as we see, he is going to be in a bit of cabbage.
Did look to come out hyzer from the hand and not quite get up to flat, just left the whole way.
Curious if he'll have a line from there. Knut up next. Again, low direct line, flipping over, just squeaking past the guardian tree. He should have a line through the gap.
I would agree. We do see some players crashing into those branches on the left of that rightmost guardian tree and ending up with a pretty friendly look. They might not get the full flight up to the mouth, but the angle seems to be quite forgiving if you are to crash into the left side of that big tree. As we see Niklas now. Also looking at the backhand hyzer shape, can he beat the trees?
Oh, that is an unwanted skip. He went way left side. We'll have to see if he's going to have an angle to go through the gap or if he maybe is going to choose to go over the top.
Definitely had that big overstable finish. As we see another finish here, Rasmus.
also looking to be a bit left side. Catching left trees. Coming down early. We'll have to see what he's got from there.
Yeah, I do think he didn't bite off too much distance, but his angle to that mouth should be all right for him to try to pierce through to the green. We have seen on previous rounds that if players don't get enough distance, they can spike Heiser over the top and just avoid the tunnel altogether.
He looks to be a sidearm dominant player, so this should be nothing too difficult for him. Just got to hit the gap. How unfortunately comes up a little early, and he is in the trees on the right-hand side. He's going to have to scramble from there to save that par. Niklas, we can see he was way left, looking to go over the top.
There's a tunnel shot on hole 9? Niklas didn't know that, as he fires over the top of it, spits out from that little tree, and I think he's probably early circle 2 with the putt.
I would agree. That should be something on the dance floor. A little dangerous with that downhill slope, but we'll see if he's going to push it now or if he's going to just lay it up and move to the next. Håkon also going over the top.
A huge shape from our players here, just trying to avoid the tunnel completely. Unfortunately, does fall within that and will leave himself some trees between him and the basket. Knut now with the forehand from the knee.
Gonna have to gap it twice, coming inside, but squeaking through. He's gonna be right by Niklas with
Little
a long birdie look.
For the lead position here. Obviously 2 strokes in play, but when you get big putt by the guy chasing you, can definitely do a lot mentally. We'll see Rasmus here now.
Oh, solid bid through the trees and landing it softly. He will be right by the basket. Yeah, just one tree in the way, maybe 5-6 meters, but nothing too difficult for the youngin'.
He does look to be putting for his par, as we see a pitch out there from, I believe, Håkon.
Correct. I think he was looking for a little bit more than that, but the pine cones on the ground seem to be stopping discs left and right.
As both of those players do not opt for the putt-off, very wise by them, knowing their strong round and position, they say, I don't want any of that putt. I'm just going to slide one up.
Veteran moves.
Rasmus for par.
Just a slight miscalculation there, releasing half second late. And he will be wide right. Gonna have to take the bogey on this hole 9. Håkon up next. Also with about 5-6 meters and a headwind.
If I were him, I may consider dropping to the knee, but comfortable in his stance. Oh, just a bit low with that hill behind. The headwind, the height really becoming a factor there.
That was the miss to make, though. At least stopping you, leaving it next to the basket.
He didn't make the putt, but he did mitigate his risk as Rasmus.
Oh, high left side. Prodigy basket said no.
Niklas looking to tap his in, but seeing that, making sure to put it nice and low.
Maybe a little bit of nerves after all those misses. Håkon will tap in the bogey. Knut will save his par. And an unfortunate double bogey from Rasmus.
As our leaders both receive their par on that hole 4, as we close out this front 9. 2 strokes between our lead position and a hot battle for 3rd place as well between Håkon and Rasmus.
No short of excitement on this final round coverage.
Tons of color on these scorecards. 20 down, 18 down, 13 and 11 respectively by our 4 players on this lead card. What did the field have to say for it?
Well, let's take a look here. As we can see, Knut and Niklas are still battling it out. Håkon has the 3rd place here, and we can see Øyvind has come back from the chase card, tying Rasmus up for 4th place. Oh, and Vaino Makala is saying, I'm not out of this yet.
But with this back 9, very tricky coming up. Anything could happen. 1, 2, 3 stroke swings. We'll see you there.
Be sure to like and subscribe.